Second Cup, brought to you by the Nickel Plate. Sit, sip, savor, and shop.
Good morning. It is 8 o'clock on the start of your Wednesday morning. Glad you're with us for Second Cup. It is a cold Wednesday outside, so as you're getting up and getting out, going about your business.
Get on the internet.
I'm just trying to stall here.
I can't get on the internet. I can't see anything right now. For some reason, my computer has decided to boot the network that I've been using all morning.
Here, do you want to just plug in? Did you try that?
Well, I thought a quick little restart, I thought a quick little refresh might be
There,
good.
it's right there. Can you reach it?
Let me get that. But it turns out no.
Isn't that so funny how like you could be doing something and maybe it's the same thing in your office?
So far with so many technology
Right.
aspects, and then others just no.
We should let you know that we are following a little bit of breaking news this morning on the 33. Let's take you live there via our night tech camera, show you what it looks like this morning. This is the accident Aaron was just talking about on the 33 at Suffolk. Looks like there's either a crash or a disabled vehicle on the shoulder there, right by the ramp. But also it looks like on the other side, there might be a truck and another car stuck on the side of the road.
Honestly, even when we were driving in this morning, you and I both said it seemed a little slippery.
Yeah, and you know what the other thing is? These side streets and parking lots are also just so slick.
Yeah,
And
watch the parking lots.
so I'm that guy who walks fast.
real fast.
And I've got a mission and I've got to get someplace that I'm going. I'm usually the one who's going a little bit too fast. But this
For
is
no reason, by the way.
I know.
There's not a reason. He's just flying.
I've just got a lot going on in my head and I need to like
The feet have
accomplish
to
the-
match the brain.
accomplish the
I'm in.
task. Oh, okay, good. Needless to say. Oh my gosh, thanks, Barbara. Appreciate it. Be careful as you're heading out this morning because it's going to be a slow go, a slick morning commute, and as you can see on the 33, a little bit of traffic as you're heading into downtown Buffalo.
Yes. Look at Peter noticed that we had Melly's picture on air
We did.
because they saw it they saw it yesterday.
Okay.
And then we put it on today with the ice fishermen and women.
Yeah, there were. Okay, so yeah, here it is. The red and blue tents kind of dotting the horizon line. They're on the lake there.
When you ice fish, Ed,
Yes, I am usually in the refrigerator sticking my hand, or in the cooler sticking my hand in the bag of ice.
have you ever gone ice fishing?
No.
Do you go fishing?
I have been fishing. I can probably count them on the number of on one hand. the
Did
number
you
of
put your
times.
own worm on the hook?
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Will you take your own fish off the hook?
No.
Well, you're halfway there.
Honestly, because some fish bite.
Yeah, but okay, you mean they have like little teeth and
Yeah.
so it's hard to get. Okay.
Or like if you don't grab them the wrong way, sometimes their gills rip you. Yeah, I'm not into that. The water creeps me out. I'm not gonna lie. Like there are some weirdo things happening under the water that blow my mind.
If Russ goes fishing, will you eat the fish?
100%.
Do you eat the fish?
Yeah.
Like
We have neighbors during the summer.
who fish?
Yeah, Marie and Mario. They are, they are wonderful people, but they live in a boat all year long.
Okay.
So this is their way of gathering food. So they are. Let me explain Mario and Maria. Mario is straight off the boat Italian.
Uh-huh. I think I've met them.
They are hysterical.
Yeah.
And she's in the boat cooking breads and growing garlic and all sorts of vegetables. They go looking for gardoons is what they're called. It's a root vegetable. They literally find them in the wild, growing along like the train tracks in some of the parks.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you eat the fish that they catch, the perch, the bass.
Yeah,
or
whatever they
something.
get.
Okay.
And they're good. They make fish fries.
Very good.
But Lynn says you should look up what type of sea creatures live at the bottom of the... No. Mariana Trench. No, thanks.
Nita said she used to go, oh, Tupper Lake. It's so pretty up there.
Come fishing with me in Florida, Connie says.
That's up in the Adirondacks.
Is that the couple next to Lou? Nope, Connie, that's next to Lou is Daryl and Annette. And they're lovely too.
Oh, Melly's got us on another topic now. She hit us with ice fishing yesterday. Now today she was
Ooh.
watching boats launch for duck hunting.
See, that I love duck. Do you like duck?
Yeah, I mean, I'll eat it.
Man,
I
I
don't want it.
love it.
I do remember, like, because I lived we mentioned Tupper Lake. I lived in the North Country for a while when I was a reporter. And my friend shot a duck and they invited me over for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And his girlfriend prepped it. It was delicious, but they did say to me as we were eating it, chew slowly.
Because it's gamey?
They think that they got all the buckshot out, but they just wanted to make sure
Oh,
they didn't want
my
me to crack a
God.
tooth. I was like, oh my God, okay.
Oh, my
like,
God.
it was good, but then I was like, I don't think I've ever eaten so slow.
Can you imagine getting
I'm
some
not
fragment?
a slow eater. Yeah.
Anyway. Erie County Blotter says, when I was in Boston when the tide was out and was beautiful to walk the ocean, never seen the ocean floor before or never seen the ocean before, but I was stinky. I don't care for wild food.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning from the frozen tundra in the Southern Tier in Jamestown. And the only school in the Southern Tier closed. Nora's thrilled. Poor Kelsey. Jeez, shrapnel.
Right.
That's awful.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Listen, I want to talk to you about my story that's airing tonight on 7 News at 6.
So Ed's been working on this investigation for, I'm going to say months.
Yeah, a really long time.
Because we sit near each other in the newsroom and we hear all about these things. And you really have been working on it for a long time.
Yeah, I called you back in October and told you about this.
So he's kind of been like digging into all this stuff. And so now this investigation plays tonight.
Right.
We saw a little preview this morning, but tell us about it and then what time we want to watch tonight.
So tonight, 7 News at 6. Here's the story in a nutshell.
Okay.
There is a high concentration of a cancer-causing chemical being emitted into the air over a Niagara Falls community. What does that mean? It means that there is a high toxicity of this chemical in the air, that this chemical also, we should point out, has been linked to bladder cancer in humans. It's a known cancer-causing carcinogen. It's called toluidine.
Okay.
And toluidine is used at the Goodyear tire and rubber plant, and it's used to make tires, basically. It's used in the rubber making process. But Goodyear knows about this, and so does New York State. But New York State is allowing this to happen, allowing the plant to emit this cancer-causing chemical in a high concentration, which is higher than current legal standards, because they're operating under an old permit. And at the time of that old permit, standards were much higher.
So what is that?
Or lower.
So what does that permit process look like now? Like, how long can they operate under a permit like that? And how does that work?
So they've been operating, trying to get a new air permit for...
Trying to make the changes to get the air permit?
Well, they found out while they were in the process of getting a new permit that they were out of compliance.
Okay.
So now they've got to make changes in order to get this new permit. But the thing is, how long will that take? So Goodyear says this could take up to 2 years.
To make the changes that they need to make to be compliant with the new regulations.
And in the meantime, they're allowed to continue their operation, emitting that high level of cancer-causing chemical.
And this is not just people who live in the community who had concerns.
This is people who live outside the community, and people who work at the plant.
Employees too.
Yeah.
Right. Uh-huh.
This one person that I spoke to has developed cancer, bladder cancer, as a result of working in the plant, he says. And Goodyear agreed to pay for his bladder cancer treatments for life.
Okay.
After coming down with this bladder cancer.
Okay.
So Anita says, Lovejoy, but from above. Jeanette, I'm really interested in your story, Ed. I just happened to rewatch Erin Brockovich over the weekend, and this is giving all those vibes 100%. Erie County Blotter, nasty. We need to keep Earth clean. Lori said she read the story. Oh, thanks, Lori. We need more investigations like this about environmental and food hazards.
Jason said we need better environmental regulations.
So Tracy says, oh, I always knew that place was horrible. And every time I see the smokestacks, I think, yeah, that's bad. So awful. Shut them down for now. So now there are calls to have the federal government step in and say, okay, you need to, like, emergency regulations need to be put in place. This, something needs to change. And in the meantime, what this one environmental lawyer that I spoke with said that A, people are dying.
Right.
And B, the people who live in this community are being poisoned. So It's really interesting.
What's the next step here? Where we have to wait and see what if the federal government responds?
Right, and what the DEC is doing to move things along. This permitting process has been going on for years. And so what's taking so long? Why is the state moving at a snail's pace? This one lawyer, this expert I spoke with, said it's because they don't have enough staff.
My mom is wondering where the plant is. Is it one of the plants along the river?
Sort of. It's on Goodyear Drive. It's like right by, it's like, yeah, I guess it's kind of along the river. Here, it's 5500 Goodyear Drive.
I'll pop up a quick map. In the meantime,
did you even know there was a Goodyear plant here?
I think I did. But I don't know much about it, to be honest with you.
It's blocks, east of the river.
Okay. Barbara's wondering if she's going to be able to watch this story online at some point.
Yes, you can watch it on WKBW.com. I'm just getting the final approval for the final story, and then I'll post the entire thing. It's a long piece, but it's eye-opening. You don't realize what's actually going on in the air that you're breathing in that's making you sick.
Right. People
are coming down with bladder cancer as a result.
Sarah says, can't wait to see the whole story. Thanks for bringing attention to this.
Thanks.
Christine, again, just tuning in, could you mention the community again?
Okay,
where?
So that's Niagara Falls. It's 59th Street is where this one guy grew up. It's so funny, he has a complete story, a complete 180 story,
so
360, I guess.
In Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Okay, because I think when my mom's thinking along the river, she's thinking up near Grand Island, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm thinking, or Tonawanda, right? Because there's all those
yeah.
Tonawanda Coke.
No, this is right in the community.
Okay.
So there's a neighborhood across the street, 59th Street rather, and people are breathing in this air. I mean, the state lowered or increased the regulation on this kind of chemical emission for a reason, right?
Right. And
now they're out of compliance. So
how long do those permits last?
They could last years.
Yeah.
And they have to re-up them. Yeah.
Do you know how many people work there?
No, I don't think many. I think there are fewer and fewer these days.
Yeah.
But I don't really know how many people are working there. Okay. Noreen says chemicals in our soil, water, air, food supply, it's causing cancer and other medical conditions. Howard says OxyChem spewed similar type thing years ago. Grand Island people are at higher risk of cancers.
And so tell people too when they can watch this.
Okay, so you can watch it tonight on 7 News at 6. My full story is online right now. John put a link in the comments for us.
And that's the
full investigation.
Print story.
Correct.
And then you're going to put up the
full story.
Full story. Too.
Yeah, the full video story.
Okay.
Barbara says, been a history of strange health conditions for years in Niagara Falls. Should do a documentary. Yeah, I mean, this is. Did I wear a mask? No, I should have, but I didn't. But it's concerning, I would think, for a lot of people, especially given the fact that nothing's being done. Just something to consider.
So now we wait and see what happens with the federal government and the state as
Correct.
well.
Yeah. So that's tonight, 7 News at 6, WKBW.com.
Very good.
John, can you put the link in the comments one more time for the Erie County Blotter? Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, share it around. I think it's really important for everyone to see this so they know what's going on. Thanks, John. All right, what do you want to talk about?
John's pulling double duty this morning. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the money stress?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. I want to pull up the script. I forgot that everything is now not open. It had been open.
Okay, so there's a new survey from Credit One Bank that shows women and Gen Zers between the ages of 18 and 28 experience more stress about money. Do you fall into that age group?
Women and Gen Zers. How about Erin? You guys know Erin because she's in our pops into here every now and then. She goes, well, I'm both of those things, and yes.
Well, right. I mean, are we all, I think, despite our age, concerned about money?
Right.
I just don't think that you can avoid it at this point.
So that was part of this, and then there was another kind of interesting study. I'm trying to see if I can pull this up. You know what?
They found a gender pay gap and stagnant wages are some of the reasons behind their concern about money.
Yes.
1 in 3 Americans say they have a fear of debt.
And then, hold on, because there was the other story that I popped into, kind of putting them together as we talk about, debt, making money, or how much we're making. What are employees expected to have to get hired this year. What do employers want to see from college graduates? I thought this was interesting.
What is it?
Ethics.
Professionalism.
Ethical judgment, adaptability, and critical thinking. They named as some of the top 3 things.
Critical thinking, I think, goes a long way.
Ethics is really important. I think that like we don't, in our business, it's such an important part of business.
Yeah.
But I think that like, so we kind of are like, yeah, of course, ethics, hello. But like, I don't know if you see that in everything.
And what does ethics actually mean? Like loyalty or
Sure.
or doing what's right when no one's looking? Like what
Sure.
what is
I think that all of that falls under that. Mm-hmm.
So
I think that you would interview somebody and you want to see that they have like good, strong, ethical qualities.
like you're a good person.
Like I find this person to be trustworthy, so I want them to come work with us.
Interesting.
I know. I thought that was kind of interesting. And then it was also talking about how bachelor's degrees are still important, but it depends on the field of study.
Mhm.
Technology, one of them. Healthcare, of course.
We all have money worries, Jason says. Anita says, I don't know a single person, no matter what their income, that doesn't concern themselves with money and spending.
Mm-hmm.
Anita says, do the right thing. Yeah, you know, when it comes to ethics, like business ethics, what are...
Does this not make you think of Billy Madison? You know that?
Which... Oh, thank you.
Oh, okay, thanks.
What do you mean? What scene in
Fantastic.
Billy Madison are you
The
talking about?
very end of Billy Madison. You got to watch more.
Miss
Adam-
Veronica Vaughn.
You got to watch more Adam Sandler movies.
Well, I love Billy Madison.
Where at the very end, he's picking the category that the other person has to enter.
Oh,
He's like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
choose business ethics. Because he knows that the guy's right. And
The
he's
guy's
like,
corrupt.
the business of ethics are when it comes to the ethics of business. And then he just like loses his mind. That's what it makes you think of, you know?
Integrity, Barbara says, and work ethic. Peter
Mhm.
says, honesty and credibility is what came to mind with ethics.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And there was also, okay, so then it also talked about job recruitment, because if you're looking for a job, okay, so this is what employers are looking for. How are they recruiting? They're using a lot of AI.
Mhm.
But this also stressed for employers, you got to also use in-person tactics too. You can't just rely on AI.
So what do you think? People are, like employers are using AI to like sift through resumes?
I mean, and we know that
Yeah.
process has been going on for years, right?
Remember how people were like putting like invisible ink on their
Yeah.
resumes?
Yeah, and putting in all the like keywords.
Yeah.
And putting in all that. Remember that? Like they would, it was like
In white?
White.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they'd put it in like the blank spaces. Uh-huh.
Aaron says, both these stories fit me so well. I'm poor, but ethically smart. See, Aaron, you are ethically rich, is the way I would look at it.
And so it was saying, yes, okay, so use AI, but also have interpersonal like connections with people, and you got to look for like, you know, meet them in person, whatever. And then it also said employers need to consider, and we talk about this all the time, hybrid schedules for people.
Right.
People love those hybrid schedules.
Well, can I ask you a question? If you are working in an office, or let's tell us about your workplace. Where do you work? Do you find that you have flexible time? In other words, are you able to leave work at a certain time, maybe to go to a doctor's appointment, or to bring your child to daycare or the doctor or wherever they need to go?
Or if there's a day where you're like, the plumber's coming today, can I just work from home today?
Right.
Just so I can physically be here, let the guy in, let him do whatever, the electrician, flexibility like that. How important is that to people?
Anita says, definitely employers are looking at social media, but they've been doing this for years.
Mhm.
And not only are they now like looking for your Facebook and your Instagram, they're also looking at your LinkedIn, which is almost even more important. Like, what are you posting on LinkedIn? What kind of conversations are you starting? What kind of conversations are you weighing in on? Because you can see all of that.
Mhm.
And Tracy says they love to use hypothetical questions in your interview. Like what?
Like what? Yeah. Like what's a good one?
If 2 and 2 is 4, but
What's a good hypothetical question, or a question you've been asked in an interview before?
Danielle says I work from home and I love it. Peter says working from home since the pandemic, but would not mind a hybrid method.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, let's get you back into the office, Peter.
I like Linda. I'm so glad I'm retired.
Anita says no flexible time day to day in the month ahead planning. Yes. Okay.
Connie says, if you have kids, how important flexibility would be, because you know they're going to get sick. If you have babies, you got to take them to doctors. Yeah. Or even just people who don't have kids, like I was mentioning, the plumber, the electric, like you got something going on that day.
Right. Like life happens.
Can you flex out your time? Yeah.
One of the questions I think that, I haven't interviewed in
Oh,
years,
okay.
obviously.
Well, where do you see yourself in 5 years, Ed?
You know, here's the nature of our business.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years, Cuppy?
Rate my answer.
Okay.
Our business is constantly changing, so it's ever evolving.
Uh-huh.
And you never know what the future holds, but I will work and I will work hard to make sure that I am staying relevant and on top of the trends.
Oh, very good.
Thank you. I just came up with that. How would you rate me?
I actually see you being asked that question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And being like, running this place. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Want to know what I see for you? Yeah.
You're fired. You know, isn't that so funny though? Like, have you ever been asked that question? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, I've been asked stuff like that before.
But like in my youth, I would have said, here's my 5-year plan. It doesn't work like that.
Well, the other thing is, like, let's be real. You can't always truthfully answer, especially when you were younger. Your 5-year plan, you knew what your 5-year plan was.
Right.
But you weren't going to like be like, here's my 5-year plan. So a good way to put it is the way that you did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you don't want to be like, well, I'm probably not going to be here. Although I do think that a lot of, like, especially I can speak for like in our business, a lot of the places where you initially started were like smaller markets, smaller areas. And I think they also anticipated, like they know they have that turnover. So they know they want you to grow, but they want good people now, and they're going to keep you and they're going to train you and they're going to grow you. And then I think a lot of the hope too is that maybe you don't stay in the same physical location, but you stay with a company.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Site, yeah.
Or they're able to, build you up a little bit.
I like Mellies. I just want to be live. Robin, so saying in white sandy beach with a cocktail would be the wrong answer?
Yeah, right.
I like this answer from Erin.
5 years older.
That's funny. Anita says, I still see myself still watching Second Cup. Love that for us. Oh, that's sweet. I do. You know what? I do love it here. You
heard it here first, folks.
Not every day.
You stop that right now.
But I'll tell you,
the people that you work with are
exactly. There's a reason why you stay at a business for a long period of time.
And you're not going to stay if you're miserable.
Right. So take that for what you will.
So anyways, I thought that was kind of interesting. How are your ethics?
How are yours? Okay, so wait, I just want to go to this comment really quick before we have to leave, because Eloise says, my husband worked at Goodyear only for a summer when he was in college, after which he was asked to return after graduation. He did and was told he was overqualified. In later years, passed away with cancer in his blood. I asked, was just to
living there Falls.
A means he lived many years in the Love Canal area also. Interesting. Well, again, this is, the emission of this chemical has been going on for years. They use this chemical and have been using it for years because it's used in the rubber making process. But in this one case that you'll hear about tonight, he was a worker inside the plant, grew up a block away, and came down with bladder cancer. So make sure you're watching my story tonight. It's eye-opening.
So that's, again, airing in the 6 o'clock newscast.
Correct. Tonight on Correct.
Correct. You're trying to say right and correct at the same
I've been
time.
having a hard time talking today. That 5 o'clock hour for me was like a stumble fest.
Tracy gave us a good, real quick example about ethics. If you found out a coworker was taking business supplies for home use, what would you do? Those kind of ethical hypotheticals.
Like, what are we talking? Are we talking like a computer? Are we talking like a printer? Are we talking like a pen?
They're taking a printer home.
Like, I don't know.
Notebooks.
I'd say notebooks. I mean, like I put pads in my bag, like legal pads, notepads in my bag.
But this might be just to use at your home. Folders, that kind of stuff.
Oh, like to give to my kids for school supplies? Probably not. I would be like, what are you doing with all that?
I'm trying to think of highlighters. I don't know.
I mean, I hoard all of this stuff as it is. Like, you know what my desk drawer looks like.
I do.
Well, and it's because you never know when you're going to need something. Mm-hmm. I've got a million Post-it notes everywhere. They're in my bag.
Or you're using those for work. This is
But maybe I might use those pens at home too.
Well, do you write stuff for work at home?
Of course I do.
I think you're all right.
Okay.
I'm going to let you go on. I'm going to let those pens slide.
Thank you. Hey, we got to get the show on the road. Hope you have a great day, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Oh, somebody's skiing.